This episode of the Rogue Deck Builder is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 source for games and gaming accessories, and by GatheringMagic.com, the #1 source for Magic the Gathering news and articles. Hi there, it's Kevin with Gathering Magic and Roguedeckbuilder.com, here with this week's episode of the Rogue Deck Builder. This one I'm going to try a Rogue Ramp strategy. Might end up cutting a color here and just going into a green-blue strategy. There are definitely some interesting mechanics that you can go for. You could go for like a Master Biomancer route or a Prime Speaker Zagana route with more group Color of Beasts and additional creatures to really get the most out of group Color of Beast. And then the red's only really in here for a few key cards. Again, I don't know if it's quite worth it putting the red in for this deck, other than we do want it for the Scry off the Temple of Abandon and whatnot. But anyway, here's the list that I've come up with. This is trying to maximize the card Primeval Bounty. There are just certain decks right now that cannot beat a Primeval Bounty that's ramped into it. And then if you chain up some Urban Evolutions like Red Deck wins, a lot of times you can just start gaining more life than they can handle. And Mono Black Devotion is another card that has a very hard time beating Primeval Bounty once it's down. So anyway, let's just go down the list here. I'm playing 25 lands, so 4 Stomping Grounds, 4 Temple of Abandons, 4 Temple Mysteries, 4 Breeding Pools, 3 Steam Vents, and 6 Forests. Alright, on to the ramp cards. What I decided to use is Mana West Sliver, Sylvan Carrotids, Verdant Havens, and Elvish Mystics. I've been thinking about maybe instead of the Mana West Sliver, go for the Sages, the Gyre Sages, but nothing really evolves them except for the Sylvan Carrotids early, and I kind of like the Mana West Sliver's ability to generate any color of mana, as more blue mana the merrier, to cast into these Urban Evolutions unexpected results. Again, I'm sure this deck has lots of holes in it. I've only tested it a few times, so I'm sure the sideboard especially will continue to evolve throughout the course of this these videos. Again, I'm not quite sure if the right number of Primeval Bounties or Group Color Beasts is set in stone. And again, I'm not 100% sold on the red in this deck, as I am only using it for Mizium Mortars and Borborgamos. And I think I might want to go up the count in either Worldspine or Borb, but I'm using Sylvan Primordial as my main card that I ramp into, as it destroys a non-creature permanent, which is actually really good in this format right now, with cards like Whip of Erebos and Underworld Connections for Mono Black Devotion running around. You have like Biden of Thassa for the Mono Blue. I am worried about the Mono Blue list, but I do have Cyclonic Rifts in the sideboard that hopefully can combat that. And again, a lot of times you can just go over the top of them with these bigger creatures. And I could use cards. There definitely are cards like the Polychronos World Eater that wouldn't be too bad. Or again, I might just want to, since I'm using 4 of unexpected results, just want to go more in the Worldspine Worm route. Worldspine is pretty good right now. He does get answered by cards like Azorius Charm and Detention Sphere, and also any other exile card like Celestia Charm. So I'm not quite sold on Worldspine Worm. Again, it just seems like Borboriamos, however you say this, and Sylvan Primordial just seem like better drops. I'm also including a Nibmazet in here, other than you cannot cheat him into play with Garruk Color Beast. So again, this I'm sure this will evolve. I am definitely open to suggestions on this deck. Let's go on to the sideboard here. We have the Nylea's Disciples, which help us against the mono red deck. They at least gain you 2 life, and if you have any sort of like Verdant Haven or Elvish Mystic out or Sliver, they're going to gain you 3 life. Again, not sold on this card quite yet either. I could go more Mizium Mortars, could go Magma Jets, could go a ton of different cards. I'm thinking of Clan Defiance as well as another card that could come in here, but it only kills 1 creature, and even maybe even Street Spasm. Again, I'm not quite sure exactly what cards I want to put in here. I was even thinking of Blast of Genius in this deck, as well, as we do have like an 11 mana cast and a 8 mana casting cost creature in here. So let's just look at Blast of Genius right now as another card I was thinking of putting in here. And it does hit off the unexpected results. So Blast of Genius says, choose target creature player, draw 3 cards, and discard a card. Blast of Genius deals damage equal to the discarded converted mana cost of that creature or player. So I mean, there is a lot of it. Could be 7 damage, and you still get a net total of 2 cards More like 3 cards a lot of times. You're discarding a card you may not want to be playing, but as soon as you have 6 mana, maybe these higher casting cost creatures are something we do want to play. So anyway, this is going to be more of a fun deck than it is going to be a competitive deck. It is definitely a testing the metagame to see exactly if ramp strategies are viable, and if they are, I mean, you do have ramp as far as Colossal Gruul, but Colossal Gruul has a different feel to it than this does. Again, this deck will continue to evolve. I hope you stick with me throughout the course of this. This is Kevin with Gathering Magic and Roguedeckbuilder.com. Thanks for watching.